Hello and welcome to this quick tutorial. We're just going to have a quick look at some color correction and color grading in Adobe Premiere. So you can see I'm in CC 2018. So this is a little sequence, it's a 4-shot sequence. It's actually these are PNG sequence files, but they're so this is our little animation. So we're going to have a quick look at some basic color correction first. Which in terms of your pipeline is where you should always start. So we're going to go to the color tab here, and it'll open up a little kind of properties window to the right. We're going to look at basic color correction. So if you have a video shot and you're unsure of whether it's white balanced correctly or not, so there's a couple of things you can do. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go to our scopes here. So we can technically look at the image, and I can right click and I can say show me the, let's see, we'll turn on a Luminance waveform monitor, and let's see, yeah, and yeah, so we've got our three basic colors here. Actually, we can just turn off the parade and leave that. Luminance. Okay, so this is our basic waveform monitor here. So at 100 we're at white, and at 0 we're at black. So most of the information in this image is all around the bottom. You can see there's all these spikes. That's all the different balls of light we have. We can also look at a vector scope, and this will tell us about the color in the image. So if I had someone with a white shirt, or if I had a white element to my image, I can re-white balance here in post. So I can click on this little pipette, click on something that should be white, and then it will re-engineer all the colors around that. So you can see here I've got a shift. So if I go Control Z, these both start at the value of 0. So when I re-white balance, they shift a little bit. So the temperature has got a tiny bit warmer, and it's increased the tint towards sort of red a tiny bit. Now, in my experience, it isn't the best tool in the world to use this white balance selector, but it can, if you're way off, it can bring you kind of closer to where you need to be. So I'm just going to turn off the vector scope for a second and just look at the waveform monitor. So what I can also do here is increase my exposure. So now I don't want to do it too much, and you also have to be mindful of what sort of color space you're in. If you're in, 8-bit color, if you push these things too far, you'll soon run out of, you'll get banding and lots and lots of noise. So I can increase this a little bit, keeping in mind that these two major spikes are the two major light sources here. So once they kind of hit this line of 100, we'll start losing detail. It's quite an abstract kind of image, so maybe losing a bit of detail wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But you can definitely see noise coming into the image as I flare it out. Okay, now you can argue that that's a much better image or much worse. That's subjective, but technically it's way overexposed, and I've lost detail. So I'll bring it back a little bit so it's not quite so extreme. I can do the same with, I can say there's nothing actually black in this image. It's very dark grey, but it all sits around 10. So I can lower this, and again, if I go too far, I just get a white line. So I'm going to bring it down as far as I can without actually descending below the 0 line. Okay. And then after that, it's about whether you want to tweak the colors. But we'll move on to another shot before we do that. So again, in this shot here, again, these are very kind of quite extreme shots. You can see I'm just shy of being exposed correctly, so I need to select the clip, and I can increase my exposure a little bit here. And then again, there's not a lot of black in the image, so we'll bring this down. Okay, we're starting to get a vignetting sort of effect there. And then if we wanted to, we could say, well, this should be white. and again it's made sort of a marginal difference to the image. So in this one here again, we're right, like these are already sort of overexposed, but the character who's here is like their exposure is quite low. You can see the character at this point, so I could probably bring them up slightly more. Okay, so again we can white balance this. Now this has a kind of a blue tint to it, so actually when I white balance there, it literally made no difference. So and let's just bring the dark areas down a bit. So this is kind of like super basic sort of color correction. You're just going in, you're kind of extending your contrast range. You can use the pipette here for automated kind of white balance selection. And if you wanted to, you could decide that you wanted to go into the curves here, pick a primary color. So I could pick a red, and I could reduce the amount of red in the image. That's obviously making an extreme difference there. I can undo that, or I can go to green and blue, and then this will give me a combo. So so there's quite a few tools here at your disposal. We can use color wheels here for adding in for shifting the colors in the dark areas, the kind of middle color, and then the bright areas. But what I want to look at next is under basic correction here is I want to look at getting a LUT. So a LUT is a lookup table, and I have just gone to this website here. So Shutterstock, and up here it says you can download free LUTs, 35 free LUTs for Premiere Pro, Final Cut, and DaVinci. And you can see some here, so vintage, there's a whole range of them. And it says that what we're looking for is a .cube file if we're going to work in Premiere. And so let's go do that. So we've downloaded our LUTs. Let me find my downloads folder here. Downloads. And this is them here. So I'm going to unzip this. So I'll extract all, and we'll leave it in the downloads folder. And when we look in here, we've got these ones here. So cube. .cube is the extension that we're interested in. So let's go back into Premiere and have a look at how we assign the LUT. Now before we do that, I just want to point out that so we've done a color correction on this clip here, and so we've increased the exposure, and there's a minor kind of tweak to temperature and tint. So we don't want, when we add the LUT to destroy that. We want that to remain. So we would color correct our sequence first, making sure that we were happy that all of the shots matched, and then we'd go back and add our LUT. So there are preset ones here, but I'm going to hit on browse. I was going to say, what do you want to browse? So I'll get my downloads folder and my LUTs, and then they're listed here. So I have literally no idea what these are going to do, so I'll say chemical here, 168, see what that does. And you can see it has shifted everything kind of towards a purple kind of color. So I don't like that one, so we'll pick a different one. Django. Okay, I don't know if this is trying to emulate a movie with a similar name, but that's a very interesting sort of look. So you can see it's pushed everything down really low and made everything very dark. However, our original color correction still hasn't changed. So I could go through all 35 of these and see what different look I got from them. But that's what our LUTs will do for us, and that's how you add them. So if you have I'm sure you can find tons of these online and get a look that, or a preset look that you want to maybe explore or use for your own particular film that you're trying to correct for. And I don't like like any of them. So yeah, so that's just a very kind of rudimentary sort of overview of doing a simple bit of work on coloring in Premiere. So we can re-white balance using this. It's quite a crude tool. We can shift the temperature by manually. You can make things warmer or cooler. In a similar way, we can tint. We can tweak these controls here, make our dark areas darker, etc. And then to apply a LUT, we first need to find one, and then you literally browse for the LUT and apply it to the clip. And if you wanted to, you could move that across. One last thing we'll look at, I can do this. I can go copy, and then on this clip here, I can right click and I can say paste attributes, and you can see here it's got the color effect, so I can turn off these things. But this here will be added. Now you can't add individual components, or at least I don't know how to do that. I think you just have to put them all on together, and then you hit OK, and then all the effects that were on this one, the changes that were made, are now applied to that one. Let's see if that's true. Yes, so that has none. So let's see if we can play with that. Let's pick a LUT. I don't know what this one's like. We'll pick that one. Okay, and we will go copy, and we will go to this last clip that has no LUT on it, and we will right click and go paste attributes. Okay, and now it has the LUT. So if you had a number of shots or a long sequence, you could do it that way. Okay, so we'll leave it there for now.